This is podcast number 1 of what is it?
We're not handling it, clearly.
We're not. Hi Bri.
Hi Greta. Those are our names. That's it.
That's it.
That's the end.
That's all we had to share.
That's all.
Yeah, this is We're Not Handling It. Because ultimately we're kind of not.
We're not. I like to think we're good at faking it.
Oh, the whole fake it till you make it in all aspects of our lives.
Yeah.
School.
Parenting.
Work.
Yep.
Friendship.
I feel like we're pretty good at that one.
I was half an hour late.
You were.
I was half an hour late.
But, like, I knew you were gonna be. You're consistent.
You know, that's all I can ask for anymore.
Yeah.
Is to just be consistent.
We can blame your husband.
Sure.
Just go with that.
We're just gonna go with that.
Yeah.
No, so welcome.
Thank you.
You're welcome. I'm in your home, but welcome.
Yep, thanks.
Okay. So
We're new.
We're new here. The thought was to talk about first impressions.
Yeah.
Because this is our first impression that we are making on somebody who listens.
Hopefully.
To the podcast.
Yep.
So, I don't want to go first.
Okay.
The thoughts are, I guess, to talk about what our first impressions of each other were, as well as, I guess, like, how important first impressions are. Yeah. So, floor is yours.
We want to start with each other?
Sure.
Like my first impression of you?
Oh, God.
Okay, first of all, we're sister-in-laws.
Oh, maybe we should clarify that. Anybody knew.
Yeah, everyone. Our husbands are brothers.
Yes.
We're sister-in-laws, but we're friends.
Yes.
We're more friends.
I do feel like sometimes I have to preface, hey, I need to talk to you like my friend. I don't want to be sister-in-law. I want to be friend. I don't think I need to do that.
I don't think we ever talk as sister-in-laws.
I don't think so. It all has an undertone of friend.
Yeah.
Even if it's a sister-in-law.
I don't think we know how to discuss otherwise.
So your first impression of me?
Well, first of all, how old were we when you started dating Austin and I was dating Mitchell?
So it was 2016. I started dating Austin.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay, so I was 17.
Yeah, because you guys were graduating high school that same month that I started dating him.
Oh, wow, okay.
Because I was supposed to go to the graduation, but I had food poisoning.
Thanks.
You're so
supportive.
Welcome. I'm pretty sure that started the whole Mitchell just saying, like, fuck you, Greta. I missed his graduation. He's known me for a week, and I missed his graduation. Fuck
How
you,
dare
Greta.
you? Dump out your water bottle.
No, I was 19. No.
How old are you?
26.
Okay. You're gonna be 27?
Yeah.
And I'll be 25. Yeah, okay.
Okay, math is there. No.
So I'm 24.
I'm 26. It feels like we're so much further apart. Anyways.
Yeah.
So it's 2016.
Yeah. So, like you said, we were graduating high school, and Mitchell and I were still living, like, at our parents' house, mostly, like, at his house. We spent most of our time, so obviously I met you that way. I don't even remember how we met, like, got introduced. I don't remember, like, the one single time you were, like, or Austin was like, hi, this is Greta.
I don't think there was one.
I don't think there was. I think you just started existing. But I knew you through Wegmans. Good God.
Oh,
whole chapter.
Good God.
Skipped.
Well, no, that was it.
So I met you at Wegmans.
Met you at Wegmans in 2016. Well, it was because I was coordinating.
Yeah, and Mitchell was probably harassing you.
Yeah, Mitchell flung. Mitchell threw a rubber band.
But I don't think that's how I met you.
No,
via rubber band.
That's my first memory of Mitchell.
That's fair.
So I guess what was your first impression of me?
Well, first of all, you were way different than you are now. My mic picked up your cough anyways.
Oh, darn it.
I don't know. You were just Greta. You were nice. You were like sunshine, and
I tried really hard.
I am not.
No. We are yin and yang is a. Disregard that connection.
Yeah. We read a lot of books.
Specifically one right now.
Dark romance. Anyways.
Anywho. That'll be a different day.
Yeah.
Tune in and we'll discuss this.
Come back to
this mess. Anyways. Sunshine.
I don't know. You were just really nice. You were helpful. You were very much Austin's type. So, like, that's very, like, sister-in-law of me. So, like, I was with Mitchell since we were 15.
Yeah.
So, at that point, it was 3 years.
Right.
And
you were in it.
Well established
Right.
to the fam. And, so really it was just, like, Austin's type. You were amazing around Chloe when you got to that point. But, like, first meeting you, it's like, okay, you're a fun person, like, you're kind, and it was just like, well, yep, that's Greta. I feel like really quickly your actions and, like, your kindness and just things you did, it was like, that's Greta. It just came that so fast, and, like, who you are is just who you are, and you wear it and you wore it really well. No.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
I don't know how to act. What is it? What's that friendship comparison? Golden Retriever and Black Cat? Black Cat? Golden Retriever. And right now the Black Cat's giving me compliments.
She's being nice.
I don't know what to do.
Thank you. Mm-hmm. So what was your first impression of me?
Scary. No, it was... You were so sweet, so quiet. I don't think I got like like an actual loud conversation, like just us outside of like Mitchell. I think I don't know. The only time I even really remember us having a conversation outside of family related things, like Harmon related things, was when you were gonna tell me that you got Janie.
Oh wow.
You texted me and you were like, guess what? I mean, because we would talk.
You didn't have Gracie at that point, did you?
I got Gracie in October of 2017.
Okay, and I got Janie that summer.
So because Austin and I had just moved in together, and like we had talked, and I'm sure there were text messages, but like that was like the first. It felt like I was really excited that you wanted to tell me something so specific. Yeah, and I remember that excitement because you and Mitchell terrified me.
I'm so sorry.
No, and it's like, everybody terrifies me a little bit. I mean, but. I think there was also this part of, like, we were at such different points. Like,
For sure.
I was in my own... When we first met, I was in my own apartment. Yeah. Austin with Chloe, like, there was just this...
Your boyfriend had a child, and Mitchell and I are children.
We're children.
Yeah.
We're the child.
Yeah. Move on.
Moving on. And so it just came down to, like... I think there's also, I really wanted you to like me as well.
That's also very Greta of you.
I wanted everybody to like me. I wanted to be just somebody that, like, fit in well. And I chased that feeling for a long time.
You're like the definition of, like, bring her home to your mom girl.
I was.
Yeah.
I was.
And you pushed for that for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I wanted, and I think that changed then how I saw everybody else, because I think I feel like we would have gotten closer sooner if I wasn't so caught up in like me as the sister-in-law, not like me as a friend.
Well, I think our situation in the house stopped us from getting close, and we needed to, all of us needed to be moved out of our parents' houses and understanding life before we could comprehend, like, sibling friendships, really. Yeah. Because, like, again, 15 is when I met Mitchell and then his family, so Austin, and Austin knew me when I was 15. Mm-hmm. Like, that's a kid. Yeah. And Austin had a whole child. Right. The dynamics were so different, so, like, a child sibling meeting their sibling's girlfriend. Right. It's not the same vibe as when, like, you grow up and you're out of a house and you're like, oh, we're just people.
We're just adults.
We're just adults. Yeah. And it doesn't matter.
Right. Right.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right. No, and I think that, like, those first impressions, though, I mean, they're pretty on par still. Yeah. You two terrifying people. Love you so much. Terrifying people.
I feel like we're less terrifying now that we have a child, which is weird because it shouldn't be opposite.
I think it's different. I mean, from all
the priorities are different.
The priority of, like, keeping that like protecting that protective nature over your household as a unit versus, like, individuals as a couple. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. Like, it shifted, and
it's almost like it went from, like, a judgmental vibe almost, which, like, I don't think we ever were, but we came off that way.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Resting bitch faces. I don't know.
Well, but Mitchell dumped out my water bottles.
Mitchell did dump out your water bottles. No, it was with love.
Well, it was that tone of, like, it was always, well, Mitchell's the mean one.
It was set.
And it was set. Yeah. I kind of came into it. I mean, but the thing is, he, at the time, lived up to that. Yeah. But you guys were these young
doing teenagers. Whatever the hell we wanted to. Mm-hmm. Teenagers.
Mm-hmm. And I had to shift my whole independent view to, because I moved out at 18, lived in the dorms, and, like, I still went home, but then I had roommates, and then those roommates moved out. Austin and Chloe moved in, and I had this entire shift of, like, I went from kid to student to roommate to domestic in, like,
wife
in, like, a 2-year span. Yeah. So that impression that I wanted to make was, like, well, you know, Austin and I knew how serious ultimately we were gonna be pretty early on. Yeah. And so I was desperate for the in-laws to like me. Yeah. And I mean, it worked out. Here we are.
Worked at the same time.
Of course we did. Of course we did. You know, it was just that, like, realm of figuring out almost also, like, who I wanted you guys to know.
Right. For sure. Like, how involved, again, and that's back to that, like, sibling thing, is what I was kind of, like, getting at. Like, who did we want each other to be in our lives other than siblings? Right. And I think for a while there might have been, like, not, like disdain.
Yeah.
Because, like, you guys moved out. Mm-hmm. And then suddenly you weren't around. Yeah. And it was, like, we're still kids, like, at home, like, oh, well, why aren't they here?
Yeah. Why aren't you coming over? Yeah.
And it's like, you don't get that as a kid. Like, obviously you guys have Chloe, and you then got animals, and, like, you have a home to take care of, and you have your own lives. And, like, it's hard to see it as, like, you guys left your parents' houses instead of, like, you guys left, like, your family in a way. And, you don't see that as, like, I'm an only child, but, like, being with someone with 3 and then 4 brothers, and we'll get into that at another time, but ultimately 4 brothers.
Well, and a niece.
And a niece, a young
a
niece,
toddler living in the house, too.
Like, you get, like, almost, like, sucked into the multiple sibling, big family lifestyle so easily. So, like, when you guys move out, it's like, oh, well, okay, fuck us.
Yeah,
like,
right.
And it wasn't anything you guys did, and of course, and, like, we moved out and we're like, oh, yeah, we're not gonna go over there every day either, because we like our away life. And,
right. And I grew up with an older brother.
Right.
And he and I weren't that close.
Yeah.
And, I mean, love him, and there were points in our lives where we felt close, but at that point in my life, we weren't. And, well, I mean, we were the same. And so I moved out, and my parents had no kids at home. It was just them with the dogs. So in my mind, I'd go and visit and have dinner there, and it wasn't loud. At one time, Austin, I remember we were sitting at, like, Christmas with my family or something, and he goes, like, he's just sitting there and he's looking around, and I'm like, are you okay? And he said, it's so quiet.
He's like, I hear nothing.
And I was like, what do you mean? He goes, it's just talking.
Yeah.
I said, yeah,
and then you walk into their house on Christmas morning at 4:30.
Gross.
Okay.
I mean, but gross.
No, gross. Okay. I agree. Just the first night I stayed over there for Christmas, Mitchell, first of all, didn't sleep.
Oh. I hit this. Sorry. I'm really excited.
Mitchell didn't sleep.
Bizarre.
So I didn't sleep because then the brothers are running in and out of the room. They're playing video games because, like, again, Christmas, teenagers, we were very young. And so I'm like, guys, I'm gonna die. And then, like, 4:30, I think it had to be 6. I think 4:30 might have been an exaggeration. I think they had, like, a point, they were like, you cannot wake us up before 6.
I think it was 5:30. I think
they might have
with Chloe
haggled for that.
Okay.
Bargained.
Okay. Nope. Whichever. Bargained? Haggled?
They worked hard for that.
They compromised. Met in the middle.
They got to 5:30, so they had to get up. They couldn't get up before 5:30. Sometime early as all hell, right. I wanted to die. Yep. Again, only child.
Right.
9.
Right.
So the first night, it was like, I didn't sleep, and then Mitchell wakes me up, and he goes, it's Christmas. I said, it's been Christmas all night.
It's been Christmas for 4 hours.
For 4 hours. Great. And I walked downstairs just dead, and then everyone's like,
all happy.
Woo!
Oh,
like,
jeez.
Running, and I'm like, oh
no,
God.
I could not. I couldn't. I know Austin.
It's an experience to be had, though.
Well, and that I didn't get it. I didn't get the Harmon Christmas morning.
We'll work on it.
Okay. Well, I mean,
I'll knock on your door.
It's 5:30. Can we push it to 6? Dang. We had to. We talked. Compromise. We had to tell Chloe she had to wait till 6.
Really?
And we've had to wake her up every year.
Oh, good. Okay. I didn't think she got it.
No, she does not get up. No, I separated myself. And that's where I was also worried about, like, off of even first impressions, I was worried that the impression that was coming off was that I wasn't wanting to spend time. I keep hitting it. I, like, didn't want to spend time with you guys because, like, Christmas, for example, I would stay at my parents' house. I was so set that I had a tradition with my family that every Christmas Eve we ate a traditional Swedish dinner.
Yeah.
And I didn't want to miss that. And everybody was very understanding. But there was this, like, level of, hey, I'm really sorry, like, I'm not gonna be there.
Yeah, like, you had to like, explain and justify your decisions, your actions that you've never had to do your entire life.
Right.
And you didn't have to by any means. And And it's like, again, you did nothing wrong.
No.
Like,
I mean, we're still here, but...
Right. And even if you said, no, this is what I'm doing, fuck you guys, this is what I've always done, you still wouldn't be doing anything wrong.
Right. It's a validating thing to be had. Yeah. It's a feeling that makes sense. Yeah. But it's that struggle of, like, setting that impression... like that balance of, like, hey, I really want you guys to like me. I really want to be around. I really want to be this person that you like and talk to. I want to have this family, these in-laws, and, you know, and siblings.
It's like the relationships you can see yourself having.
Yeah.
And they're just kind of, like, right there.
They're right there, and I was, like, trying to figure out that balance of, like, because there was a point where, and it wasn't anybody's fault, but there was a point to where I realized I had gone, like, we did the weekly dinners.
Yeah.
And I realized it had been, like, a month and a half, and I hadn't seen my parents.
Yeah.
I lived 20 minutes away from them. Hadn't seen them, like, other than, like, a quick stop. My mom dropped off coffee, or, like, you know, I had to drop the dog off. Like, we didn't have... like, it was, like, a month and a half with, like, no dinners up there.
Yeah.
And, like, Austin hadn't had a dinner up there with them either. And I was like, well, that's kind of shitty. So I remember that moment of, like, how do I balance that? Yeah. Like, how do I say, hey, let's stop hanging out with your family so much? Like, that was a really weird feeling to come across.
Yeah.
And...
because it feels like it just should be even.
Right.
And, like, I went through the same thing, too. Like, even my grandparents who helped raise me, were around my entire life, were very present in my life. They were like, hey... how are you?
Right.
Like, what you've been up to? And, like, my grandma would pick us up from school almost every day, and, like, that's all we'd see of her. And, like, now as an adult, I'm like, wow, that's really shitty of you. She just dropped you off at your boyfriend's house, and that's where you stayed.
Right.
And, like, she understood, like, I'm a teenager.
Yeah. They were that,
right,
you know.
Right. But, like, there was a point where my grandparents were like, do you want to come over ever again? And I was like, oh, yeah, sure. I honestly didn't realize how much time had passed since our, like, normal lives had stopped because I got wrapped up in this other family. And, like, I think that's normal to an extent.
Yeah, it is.
Because it is something new. And especially, like, you had a brother who's older than you, and I'm an only child, and, again, lots of siblings, and... they do family things together, and they're very active in lives, and they have sports and musical and all these things.
Somebody's always doing something for you to attend.
Busy. Yes, there's always an event. Something. There's always something.
Right.
So getting sucked into that is really the only way, like, I can think to phrase it, is getting sucked in.
You get sucked in.
And
that's got to be a natural thing. I mean, like, Austin was my first really serious relationship. And so, like, once you realize you're kind of in it, for a while, it's very easy to get sucked in.
And then you get to the point you're like, I gotta check back into everything else in my life. You're like, this is lasting for a long time.
Right.
We gotta figure out a balance, like you said, like a balance here, because this is aggressive.
This is a lot. And and I think that understanding who it got easier though once I think we figured out who we are, and like you said, once you guys moved out, you kind of realized, like, oh, like,
people,
I want to be home,
just people.
Yeah, we're people.
Yeah.
And I think that kind of changes how you view that, and, like, all of a sudden that I think
it's just reality, and you're not in reality when you're a teenager living at home.
No. And my reality was shifted once we started to just spend so much time together. And then, once he moved in, it changed, you know. But yeah, I just think that I was scared of you guys.
Back to first impressions.
We knew this was gonna happen. It was important for me to be liked by everybody, and that still to this day is how I run my life.
What?
No.
Who? You?
Me.
Greta?
Yeah. Yeah, I can't let it go. That it will forever be what I do. I need to be liked by everyone. So my first impression is, I'm sorry, I'm picking things up.
Honey, it's okay.
I want to be liked by every single person.
What if I was just like, hey, I don't like you anymore?
Like, well, you're dedicating an awful lot.
It's a podcast. One episode. Done.
That's how you say we're not friends anymore.
Post it anyways.
It goes viral.
Yep. That suck.
That would suck. At the expense of my emotions? Yeah, it would suck.
I'd feel horrible.
Anything for fame.
Pay me. Give me money. ASMR begging.
That's gotta be a kink. That's gotta be something out there.
Sure.
That's like 100%.
For sure.
Oh, brilliant.
Oh my god.
What were we talking? Why are we here?
First impressions.
Oh.
Do we want to talk about our first impressions of our husbands?
Oh, yeah.
You go first now.
Okay. Working at Wegmans.
Set the tone.
No, I wasn't
Set
even close. Setting the scene. I was wrong about that scene. Resetting the scene.
No, back up. Wrong. Anyways, first impression.
First impression about our husband. First, I went to Wegmans and had lunch with my, at the time, roommate.
I thought you were going to say boyfriend. I was like, shit.
Yes. No, yeah, I looked my, at the time, boyfriend dead in the eye. That guy's hot.
You just go, no.
Yes. No.
Wrong.
We break up via podcast. Let's start a podcast, and I'll break up with you
On the podcast.
On the podcast. No, I went and had lunch with my at the time roommate, and Austin just walked by.
You said.
And I went, "Who's that?" And my roommate at the time knew.
Did she work at Wegmans then?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, she worked at Wegmans, and so I mean, technically, she wasn't actually my roommate. I had not started working at Wegmans, but I had already gotten a job at Wegmans at that time. And so, I mean, technically, this is the first impression. We didn't technically talk, but my first initial, just me, was, my God, he's hot.
It's a good one.
It was a good one.
It's a good one.
I mean,
We have attractive husbands.
we do have attractive husbands.
We're pretty attractive too. And
Yeah.
that's the end of the podcast. We're gonna rip their mic out.
Never mind. No, but the first conversation we had that like really solidified my like first impression of like, okay, he's really good looking. Which this is just gonna boost his ego.
Oh god. He's not allowed to watch it.
He's not allowed to at all participate. We had a conversation. I was cashing and he was working, I think, at like service desk, but he was helping somebody and he was standing in front of, I was brown lining.
It's not, for those of you who haven't worked at Wegmans, it's not anything to gag about.
No, it's
there's
just
literally a brown line at the end of the aisle.
And you had to stand on it.
If you had no customers.
It's to make sure that people knew that you were available to cash them out.
Wegmans.
It's Wegmans.
It's a great place. Just cashing sucks. Anyways.
Yeah, that's just an anywhere thing. That's not a Wegmans thing. But we were standing there. I was standing there, and he was standing at the case in front of me at the milk.
The milk.
And
I
I
had
had
down in the good section.
I was in 15 items or less.
Nice.
Yeah. And he was standing at the milk, and he was like waiting for, I think, a customer to come back. And at that point, like, we may have had like shared a couple words, but this is like the conversation I remember. He was standing there with his like little feet crossed, and he was standing leaning against it because he was waiting for a customer, and he was wearing dress shoes instead of gym shoes because
You said,
had
sir.
I said nice shoes, and he said look down, and he looked at me, and I kid you not, what felt like an eternity passed.
Hate you.
He just stood there.
Hate you.
He just didn't say a damn thing, and he goes, Okay, so now I gotta tell you why I'm currently wearing dress shoes and not my gym shoes.
He did.
And he told me a whole story.
Of course he did.
About how he left his gym shoes at Aunt Kim's house because he was house sitting.
Oh, sitting at Kim's house.
House sitting at Kim's house. And he had left his gym shoes there, and he had come from his other
too
job.
Far.
Yep. And he came from his other job, which is where he still works. Which is why I was late today.
But he doesn't.
He doesn't
work there.
Technically, no.
He works in likeness.
He works adjacent to.
Thank you.
He works down the road.
Yeah, and around the corner.
Literally around the corner. A job adjacent to the job he did is what he's doing now.
Yeah.
But works for the same company. And he just told me the whole story. But he never solidified what he did. He just said, like, well, my full-time job that I had before this, and yeah.
He was sitting there contemplating if he wanted to tell you the story.
Yeah.
And, like,
was
if
I
it
worthy?
would, like, maybe that too.
In his mind, worthiness.
But also, like, would it, like, reel you in?
Right. That was totally it.
Yeah.
It was like, would this make her
onto her a little
will
bit?
Will this hook into her mind for the rest of her life? And guess what? It did. We've been together for 7 years now. It's all because of those
to the day.
To the
millisecond of right now.
Actually, 10 days past 7. Nope, that's our wedding anniversary. It's not even 7 years. It's 6 years.
Oh. 4.
Always 4. What is it? It's 2023. We started dating in 2020.
No.
2016. What's the math there? 6 years. Damn, I've been wrong. 6 years. No. 7.
Greta.
What?
Yeah, because...
Yes, because 2016 plus 4 is 2020. No, duh. Okay, so it's 7 years, but our first year anniversary wouldn't be until 2017. So 2 is 2018, 3 is 2019.
You started dating in 2016.
Yeah, 1 year is 2017.
Okay, so we graduated in 2017. So your whole thing about Mitchell's graduation party, wrong.
What was your first impression of Mitchell?
Okay.
Oh, you have to go back to... Holy crap.
Well, okay, first of all, fun fact. Mitchell and I have learned that we've, like, just missed each other in several, like, activities, programs, things like that.
Cool.
So the first time I ever saw my husband, he was a spoon in Beauty and the Beast. But I didn't see him until, so, like, Anna...
spoon.
He was a spoon. And...
It's very Mitchell. He's gotta be a utensil.
Well, we were in 8th... A bowl. I don't know why.
Well, that's a dish.
Well, yeah.
It's not a utensil. I said utensil. It's not the same.
Anyway.
Sorry, first impression of your husband?
So Anna and I went to go see the Beauty and the Beast musical, and we were in 8th grade. I don't know why we went in 8th grade. So, but I didn't see him, like, in the actual musical. I saw him jump off the stage, unspooned. Not in the spoon. Unspooned. After. And that was, like, the first time I saw him. And it, like, I remember, like, seeing him. It was very, like, movie-esque moment, but I didn't think about it past then. I say it like that because I can still see his little 8th grade self, like, jumping.
Movie-esque.
Movie-esque.
You knew then.
Esque. I didn't.
Your heart.
Well, just wait.
Oh, God.
So Anna knew him before I did. And we, like, met and started hanging out when I quit band in high school. And my period got switched from band to study hall. And Anna and him were in the same study hall. And they knew each other. Because Anna was in marching band with Austin, and probably some other way. I don't know. Anna knows
so
everyone. Mitchell knows everyone.
Right.
So we started hanging out and talking, and I actually remember like talking to Anna about him, and I was like, he's really funny, he's really nice, he's got a huge ego. Like, all of them.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, at least Austin and Mitchell, the oldest, at least.
They ride that ego to this day.
They know they're attractive.
And they know that they are smart.
Yeah.
And they act like they know it.
Yeah. They're great people, though. They're not assholes.
We're married to
unless necessary.
Right. Still want to see them get into a fight. Not with... I want to see my husband... I want to see my husband
We want our
fight
husbands
somebody.
to defend our honors.
Back
We're
to that
feminists.
dark romance. We'll talk about that tangent another
we'll go
day.
there later.
Sorry.
But I remember talking to Anna about him, and I was like, high school. I was like, he's really cute. Like, he's funny. He's nice. And, like, he's smooth.
Mm-hmm.
He's
For 8th
for
grade.
a high school. We're not in 8th grade anymore. We're in 9th grade.
Right. I'm sorry.
Halfway through 9th grade.
Following the story, I swear.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Uh-huh. The spoon really caught your attention. The bowl.
You lost me a little bit.
I don't know.
Half of me was stuck on...
Get rid of the bowl.
Sorry. Okay, carry on.
I don't know why.
I get it, but I was talking about utensils. Anyways.
But yeah, I was talking to Anna about that, and she goes, do you think you'll, like, go out with him? Like, hang out with him? I was like, probably not.
Yep.
I told Mitchell that yesterday, I think.
Oh.
And he goes, we're married. I said, yeah.
It worked out.
But it was funny, because I was, like, I remember the conversation. I remember being like, I don't know. I don't want to be, like, in a relationship, and, like, my life was complicated then, boy-wise, and I was like, probably not. Literally a month later, I think, at most. Probably a month, yeah. We were dating. Yep. He wanted to wait till musical was over to ask me out.
When he was done being a spoon. No,
that was the next year.
Dang it. Sorry.
The
He needed
spoon's
to
over.
get his priorities straight.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
first impression, spoon.
Spoon. Yeah, first impression of my husband, spoon. No, just pretty much the same thing as you. Attractive, smart, funny. Like,
God, this is not going to be good for their egos. Really, it's for...
we got him.
That's true. That boosts our egos.
Yeah, we won.
Married.
It's on our hands.
Yes. We've both been married for 3 years.
3 years?
We both got married the same year.
Yep.
You beat us.
I
You wanted to get married before us.
So mine and my husband's combined toxic trait is winning. We cheat at family board games together as a team.
At least you got each other.
We keep it reeled in.
You do.
And we found out we were pregnant that year, and we knew we would have gotten married, but we were like, we're not going to have a wedding unless we get married before we have a child. So we're like, how about the same year as Austin and Greta? So we got married in February. Baby was born in May. You got married in October of 2020.
Of 2020. In the world that we are in now, the fact that we had a remote job for...
Yeah.
Like, how important are they?
Remote,
How do you...
like Zoom first impressions, Teams first impressions.
Right.
I'm really bad at, like, reading into text. Like, we've talked about it. Like, we'll put, like, an exclamation point in every sentence to seem happy.
Yeah, just to make sure, we're not mad.
We're not mad.
If you add a period,
You're mad. But, like, professionally, obviously, that doesn't make any sense. But,
when you end the email with best is when you're mad. Or thanks.
Thanks, period.
Just thanks.
Thanks, exclamation point. It's like, thanks. Thanks for your time.
Yeah. Thank you means thank you.
Yeah.
But thanks. You're mad.
Sometimes I stopped putting periods. Like, I just
I
like,
wouldn't.
thanks.
I wouldn't put any punctuation.
No punctuation.
That's when I was my maddest.
Just thanks.
Yep. Thanks.
Thanks for
Because
all your
that's-
fucking effort.
Because that's what that is. Thanks.
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 Anyways, so first impressions in a remote world.
Yeah.
I think are really complicated because personally, like, you've heard me talk about several people in first impressions. I'm like, well, can't stand them. And it'll be a back and forth of like, oh, well, they did this, and then they did this, and then they said this. But usually I feel like it goes back to the first impressions in the end.
Always.
Like,
you almost like...
I knew it.
Specifically
like,
for you.
Yeah.
I'm not. I used to think I was good at reading people. I'm not. I have learned that that's a very bad trait I have. I'm a bad judge of character. The Grinch.
Yes.
I'm a bad judge of character. And has not gotten better. I thought I was good at it.
I think you're a little more logical in your thinking about people now.
Yeah.
You have...
Therapy. That helped me.
Being an adult.
Sure.
Yeah. You're not that old. Like, still in your 20s.
I feel older than I am. I'm closer to 30.
You are.
Than 21.
Oof.
I'm closer to 30, flirty, and thriving than 21.
I think 30 is going to be great.
Oh, I cannot wait to be 30.
Oh, well. I'll hang on for a bit. I'm not going to rush
I'd rather
it.
time not go by that quickly.
Yeah. I'll hang on. But I think, like, 30, like, especially, like, you and I together, I think our kids will be older, first of all. We're going to have a great time.
We're going to have a great time.
But real quick, let's go back to your idea of first impressions in the remote world.
I find it's really... A lot of my first impressions with people in the remote world a lot of communication starts written.
Yeah.
You know, you don't get that, like...
There's a lot nice to virtually meet you. Nice to e-meet you.
Nice to e-meet you. Nice to e-connect.
Yeah.
And as, like, lovely as that is in a lot of aspects.
Love an email communication.
Love an email communication only person, all right? It is hard. I realize sometimes I really like a person when we're talking virtually, then all of a sudden we'll get on a face-to-face call, a conference call, and I'm like, ooh.
See, I have the exact opposite.
Really?
Yeah, I have, I had a few separate people that I'm like, oh, okay, like, you are kind of picky about things you want. You talk really, it's almost like sharp in an email. Like, and not even, like, to the point, but just, like, my time's the most important kind of vibe. Yeah. And then you get on a call with them, and they're so nice. And you're like, oh, you just speak this way. How you speak. This is just how you talk. And then time will pass, and I'm just email. And then I kind of forget, and I get irritated with them. And then we get on a call, and they explain. I'm like, you're nice, I forgot.
That's gotta also come from our generation, right? Probably. I mean, like, we grew up with the virtual making connections online, and I think that we figured out how to portray emotion while writing exclamation marks periods, and like
it's like when your grandma texts you, love you, period.
Right.
It's like that. And you're like, why are you mad?
Why are you mad at me? My mom will, to this day, text me K. And I still, to this day, think she's mad at me. Every single time.
I would.
Every single time. Or when her messages are short, when she's watching my son. Because she's busy.
Yep.
And I think, Mom, I'm so sorry.
Yeah.
I'm so sorry that I made you mad somehow.
Yeah.
I'm a grown-ass woman. Still so scared of making my mom mad.
Always.
And it's like that you're getting 2 chances of first impressions almost.
Yeah.
I mean, technically, I do think that there is always a way to, like, make up for your first impression.
Oh, for sure.
But you're right in that a lot of the times, though, it falls back to that first impression you have with someone. That first impression you make will be the one that sticks. Now, can you make up for it? Yes, but it's always, like, tainted with that.
And it's almost like the question of, like, can people change real into it, too?
Right. Well, and, like, like we've established, I'm not a good judge of character, so I will be like, you have changed. You are changing. You are better.
I changed you.
I changed
I fixed
you.
that.
Me. It was me. I did this. And it was like, I have a hard time remembering the first impression.
Yeah.
Because I'm like, oh, you're good now.
Yeah.
You're
and
better.
It's usually, I think about, like, I'll say something, like, in our group chat.
Mm-hmm.
And then I'll be like, maybe a couple weeks, couple months, oh, well, this person did this. They're getting better. Like, they're fine. And then we'll go on. Time will pass. Something will change. And I'll be like, I was right. They were this way. Like, I have to really think about it before I'm like, no, I did think this of this person. And then I'll go to the group chat and be like, well, guys.
I was right.
I was right.
She loves it when she says that. Winning. And it's definitely like that level of, I put too much trust in that second impression. And very
professionally, like, I think that's fine.
Well, and it's like, professionally, sometimes that's the only time.
You just have to.
You have to. And, like, I sometimes have a hard time separating that because as much as I am a bad judge of character, I do pick the people I like to invest in, but I find that a lot of times I love having those work relationships and those, like, friendships from work. It makes
it more fun.
Mm-hmm. I mean, we still are friends with three people that we worked with at the same time, even though we've all moved on in different ways.
Yeah.
Like, we're all still friends to this day. And, like, those impressions that we got from those people and the impressions we made that pulled us into that group kind of created bonds.
Mm-hmm.
But
it also so happens that during this time that we all work together virtually big changes happened.
Yeah. You know, first impressions are so important. I do believe that you can come back from those first impressions.
And everyone has bad days.
Right. Like, we're going to have bad days. We can talk about those bad days.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm going to be a bitch.
You're going to be a bitch?
Probably.
Oh, I heard you say you're going to cry.
Well, you're not wrong.
Greta saying she's going to be a bitch is a new one for me.
I when I tell you, that's the goal. I had a fear that I would sit on one of these sometimes and just say something wrong. It might not even affect you, but I would think about it.
To make towards me?
Yeah. But, like, I'd somehow offend you.
Oh. Probably not.
But I'm, like, petrified of it. And, like, I was thinking on the way here, like, getting, like, nervous.
Late.
When I was arriving late, I was getting nervous, sweats. And all I could think about was like, well, what if I say something wrong and she's going to get mad? And then I'm going to think about it. And I just went through this spiral. This was going somewhere else. I lost my train of thought.
Okay.
I don't know. First impressions I've also grown up in it's who you know. So, like, you have to make those first impressions.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it's, you know, I mean, who you know. I started working there and then I said, hey, I know somebody that could work with me in 2020. And you were postpartum.
Yeah. I had my interview very shortly after you started.
Yeah. Well, because I think it was...
And I didn't start until August. There was a good chunk of time in between my interview and starting.
I think I said chunk of time.
That too.
I think it was. And then, I mean, that was 2020. Yep. It's been 3 years.
And as of 3 weeks ago?
3 weeks.
3 weeks ago, I was laid off for restructuring. But Greta still works there.
I do.
So we're doing this because I have a ton of time.
She's free as a bird.
So free.
I am not.
But we did think that situations like layoffs and Greta still working remotely and us knowing the people we know through remote work and all that was a good point to start this. And
it was also if not when. Like, why not now?
Yeah.
You know,
Yep.
and I think I said it as a joke one day.
You said, I want to start a podcast. And in my head, I go, that would be so fun if we did it together. But I was like, I'm not going to invite myself.
Well, it was like, I said the word, I said it to you, I want to start a podcast. And I remember thinking in my head, like, who the hell would want to listen to just me talk? Myself.
I would.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you so much. But it was like, what do I have to offer?
I don't think I'd be able to just sit and talk by myself.
No, because I have my opinions on things. Nobody cares about my opinions on things.
Nobody cares about our opinions together, so this
But
should
no,
be fun.
but we can bounce these experiences off of each other. It's like, I just wouldn't have had fun talking to a wall.
Yeah.
And there might be times where you feel like you're talking to a wall, but...
No, you laugh.
I think your jokes are
You react.
funny.
I think we're both funny.
Well, and what was it? And then we were just sitting, I think, on FaceTime one day, and I said, no, really, wouldn't it be so funny to just have a podcast? And
I said, here's my time to shine.
so we hope, I don't know if she hopes, I hope that you guys had a great first impression of us.
I also hope.
Bring it home here.
I don't know why I just left out of that. That's fine.
Well, okay, so remember,
don't speak like we're not codependent.
But do you remember the whole first impression thing? My first impression...
The whole episode?
Yes.
Okay, yeah, I remember.
The fact the first impression you gave off, you didn't give a shit about nothing. And that has carried.
Yeah.
Now, I know you give a shit about a lot of things.
Not a lot. The important things.
Well, in retrospect, that's a lot of things.
That's fair.
It's subjective.
Yeah. Go on.
So it's a lot to me. Okay. Anyway. I hope this first impression was good.
Me too.
Because this is literally what it's gonna be.
Yeah, it's not gonna get any better.
No.
We're not gonna pretend it's gonna get any better.
It would be better.
It might be a little more organized.
Production-wise.
Yeah.
I don't know. It might be more
Tangent-wise.
Probably
not.
No.
Don't put the expectation.
No. I mean, like, maybe we'll have an actual, No. This is pretty much what it's gonna be. We have a thing.
Episode 2 is right there.
Look at that. We should probably... Anyways.
We'll add.
Yeah. I think it's just gonna feel good.
Yeah.
I think it would be good to do.
And if people start watching it and you leave comments and interact with it and have things that you want to hear us talk about, we'd be happy to. If we have any opinions on it, we'll talk about it. We'll probably be dumb, like we were, but...
We got opinions on a lot of things.
We do. We're opinionated. But I feel like we're pretty nice. About things. And
we come from a open-minded, educated, willing to be educated point of view on things.
And we're not going to talk about things deeply unless we are educated enough to have an opinion on it.
Yeah. This is going to be so much fun. Just it's going to be a lot of our time telling you how we're not handling it. And hopefully if you're not handling it, you'll feel a little bit better about that. And that you can find some type of connection.
I was going to say connection. Yeah.
Connection. Same brain.
Different fonts.
Yeah. So is this...
Yeah. Bye, Greta.
Bye, Bri.